Good morning, everyone. It's 7:40. I woke up at 7 a.m. I jumped right out of bed and started my sparking for today. So this video is going to be a little different. I actually, in this video, want to talk about a lot of things that I feel like young people like me can relate to, but when you're in your head, it really feels like you're going through it alone. And when you just soak in your situation, it really can feel like you're the only one in the world going through what you're going through and feeling the feelings that you're having. So if you watch my other realistic content, a lot of you guys tell me how wise I am, how like mature that I am. And so I just want to give y'all a little kind of background story, tell you guys my life story up until now, me being 21 years old. So I did grow up with two absent parents. They struggled with substance abuse and being in and out of prison. So they lived, along with most of my other family, lived in a different state in Texas. That's where I was born, but I didn't live there with my family and my parents in Texas. I lived in Louisiana with my grandmother. My grandmother and my grandpa were alcoholics, and they're also abusive. They were in an abusive relationship, and they were also abusive to me and my twin brother growing up. Now, I just want to pause right here and say that I'm not trying to make them seem like evil, terrible people. They have always kept a roof over my head. We have a much better relationship now. Just like I'm here telling my story, they have stories to tell as well. Like, nobody grows up and wants to have an addiction and things like that. So just understand that mental health is something. Your parents and your grandparents have mental health with way less resources. I seen a post that said that. And so I'm not making excuses for their behavior, which is why I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything, and I'm gonna come on here and tell my truth and tell my story. But at the same time, I don't want to make them seem like a villain. So I mean, if you've dealt with this in your life, you understand how complex it is, because at the end of the day, you still have love for these people. They are still human beings, you know, and it could be anyone. It could be me. My story could make me like them whenever I grew up. God forbid that, and I know that won't happen, but I just wanted to pause and say that. I have very deep love for my family, but my truth is my truth, and I'm not gonna hide it to protect anyone. So that's what I had to grow up and face, as well as growing up. So yeah, like I was saying, growing up in poverty, and in poverty I mean less resources, no one to set me up for success after my childhood. Like, I had all my basic necessities, and that's it. As far as my living situation, I did grow up in the hood, but we lived in a mobile home that was paid off. All of our cars, it might have been older cars, like by older I mean like 2010 and stuff like that, they were always paid off though. My grandparents were really scared of credit and being in debt, so they were never in debt. Everything was always paid off. We did go on trips, like on a cruise to Disney World, things like that. But like I said, there were times where we qualified for government assistance, times we didn't. And so as soon as I turned 16, I got my first job at Chick-fil-A. I was working. I didn't get my license until 19 years old. I had to pay for my own driving school. Like I said, figure out my own rides back and forth to work. And I actually finished school at 16 years old. I was supposed to finish a year early, being 17, but you know, COVID had came out right on top of that. So I was finished school by 16 years old. And at this point in 2020, both of my parents just got out of prison. My mom actually had my baby sister in prison. She went to a family friend, so she was able to get her back. And my brother, the living situation was so bad in Louisiana with my grandparents that my brother was like, I'm gonna give our parents another chance and go live with them in Texas. So I had went to visit, and I saw their living situation. They were living in an old family home. My grandmother on my mother's side had just got remarried. All of her kids have substance abuse addiction. So all of my first cousins, our parents grew up with these addictions, so we all kind of had the same lives. So she was just so tired of it that she, you know, was remarried with her husband. She moved on the outskirts of town. Our younger cousins, she took care of them, and she moved away from everyone. So that family house was in shambles. It had a terrible rat infestation. When I tell you the rats came out at night, they did not hide. They were huge. Like, I'm talking about, they would jump on your bed. Like, usually rats supposed to like feel the warmth from humans, and you know, they hide and sneak around. No, they was in the walls. There was everywhere. And my baby sister was living in these conditions. My mom was working, my brother was supposed to be in school, but he at home in his virtual classes and taking care of my baby sister at the same time. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna come and move and help them. So at this point, I was enrolled into some community colleges. As far as university goes, there was nobody in my ear telling me to go to university. No one helping me to fill out my FAFSA. They had FAFSA night at high school, and I didn't have no parents to come do that with me. My grandparents, I was always seen as the strong one. Just like you guys say that I'm mature and wise beyond my years, my family has always looked at me as, it's Bree, she's gonna figure it out on her own. So college, university never even seemed obtainable to me. In my mind, I'm thinking, how I'm gonna get there? I don't have no car. It costs thousands of dollars. No one was offering to help put me on a payment plan or anything. Like, that was just always seemed out for me. Like, I always knew I was gonna have to go to some sort of trade school or community college. And so I enrolled into community college. They had online classes, so I was doing them for a little while. I moved to Texas. I got my refund check from school. I used that refund check for the first month's rent and for furniture for me, my twin brother, my baby sister, and my mom. At this point, by the time I had made it down there, my dad had already relapsed, so he was gone out of the picture. So I used my refund check, all my savings. I did have savings from when I was working in high school. I used all that to move. They had a man, it was this big old house. He turned it into like a well, it was a duplex. You could tell it was a duplex, and he turned it into like little apartments in there. So it was $1,000 a month for all utilities included. Like, I just pay him and all the bills are paid for. So my checks at Walmart, my checks at McDonald's, I was walking. I didn't have no car in Texas, but you could take the bus and stuff was walkable. So I was walking back and forth the hour to and from work every day. I would get off at midnight sometimes and walk that hour home. So my checks were $500 and some change. So the first check I would just let sit in my bank account. If it was $512, I would have that $12 and I would spend it on stuff for the house. We didn't have to want for food because she got food stamps for my baby sister. So the next time I got paid, another 500 and some change, I would give the man his $1,000 for rent, and then whatever I had left over, I might buy myself a chocolate bar, I might buy my sister a toy, something like that. And so that went on for a little while. I noticed that my mom never had her half of the rent because it was supposed to be $500 each every month. She never had it. Stuff kind of started getting weird. She tripped out, like was hallucinating everything. We ended up realizing that she relapsed. So at that point, we called our family member, kind of had an intervention. My grandmother who raised me, she basically apologized. She was just like, I've stopped drinking. She, for the first time, admit what she had put me and my brother through, and she was just like, if I owe y'all anything, I owe it that y'all come back here and y'all focus on just being kids and y'all focus on getting y'all life together. Please come back and live with me. I will not drink no more. I won't do all the things I used to do. So me and my brother, we moved back in with her. A family member took care of my baby sister while my mom had to do different like parenting courses, obviously rehab, and then she actually ended up getting approved to this really nice religious all-woman shelter with my baby sister, and they helped find her a job and helped her to move out and be, into the world as a functioning human of society. So that all worked out for them. And then in this meantime, I'm still struggling trying to get back and forth to work. I meet my boyfriend. He graduates from high school, and he never had a job before because his parents, he made good money, he was an athlete, he never had to have a job in high school. Well, he didn't want to go to college, so he was like, I see you've been working, can you give me a job? Like, if you can find us both a job somewhere, I will take you back and forth to work every day. So me and him both started working at Walmart. I was able to save up, get myself my car. I made a video on it. I was able to get myself a car, and things was looking up for me. I decided to enroll back into community college. Still wasn't sure what I was gonna do. So I have like a semester worth of just regular like general education classes, and then I decided to enroll into a medical assistant program. I finished that. That was a 2-semester program. I took my board certification. I passed my certification test. I'm a certified medical assistant. I get out into the field and I see that it's pretty much $15 an hour. I mean, you can make more, but you have to stay with the practice for years to get there. So I realized I can't keep doing this. I did move out on $15 an hour. I ended up getting a raise for $17.50 at where I was working, but the environment was very toxic. I was the only black person there. I faced a lot of microaggressions and racism. So when I moved out into my apartment, I quit that job. I started working at a bank for $18 an hour. And again, it was just toxic. I just felt like, where's my life going? I can't keep working these, dead end jobs. I need a career. So right now I'm driving full-time for Spark, and I actually just today I'm gonna go get everything finalized to join a massage therapist program. It's a 7-month program. It starts February 10th. Financial aid will cover that for me. And so in the meantime, I actually make enough on Spark. I can average $15 or more on Spark. So my bills will be paid in that aspect. I did build my credit, all those years since I graduated high school. I never carried a balance. I'm 21 years old, and this season in my life I am carrying a balance on my credit card. So I do have some debt, but it's still good debt. And I want to let you guys know, if you grew up low class, you're probably around people who let credit ruin their life, and they will scare you and make credit seem like it's such a bad thing. But people are using it to their advantage and get a level up, like student loans, like financing a car, like mortgage. All that is debt, but it's still good debt because you're paying it off. You're within good standing. So I have a credit card with some thousands of dollar limit on there, but it's 0% interest for about 2.5 years. So that's what I'm using to fill in the gaps. Anything that I am not able to pay off in cash, as far as bills and things like that, I'm using my credit, but I'm paying off everything I can every single month. And I'm just, I don't want to worry about finances right now. I want to focus on school. I kind of look at it as if I did go to university, I would be way more in debt, living on dorm, living on campus. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. My plan is to use my medical assistant certification and get my license as a massage therapist, go into sports medicine, physical therapy, chiropractor, the medical aspect. But also, in addition to the medical aspect, there's the retail aspect. You can start your own practice. You could do your own practice in your house, buy a shop, rent out a unit. So there's the retail, there's the fitness, there's the spiritual wellness, medical side, which I obviously like. But I always knew like nursing school wasn't for me and things like that. So I'm just so glad that God put this on my heart, because I always felt like I never knew what I wanted to do. I never had the same opportunities as everyone else. I never felt like I would be able to do something or be passionate and make something out of myself. So I just want to let you know, if you're in your early 20s, even 30s, 40s, and you don't know what you're doing with your life, it all comes together. Like, nobody has the playbook, the instructions to life. If you guys went through stuff in your life, you're not the only one. So I am willing to open up to you guys, make more story times. I'm sure you're wondering, how did my mom have her baby in prison? I have super crazy stories about, obviously growing up in my life and my toxic environment. So I got story times for days. If you guys want any more insight, I know it's probably hard to keep up because I have to summarize my whole life in a couple of minutes, but I just wanted to share that with you guys, because everyone thinks that I'm so smart and mature and I just have everything put together. But let me tell you, wisdom comes from lots of trauma and lots of life experiences. So yeah, if you don't have the picture perfect life, trust me, nobody does. I know it can seem like it on social media because everybody not coming in like this and telling y'all what the real is. But yeah, if y'all want to see me, follow me along, trying to make it out the trenches, y'all want a story time from being in the trenches, let me know, y'all. Any questions that y'all have, let me know in the comments. Use it as your safe space. Thank you so much for listening to my story.